Hi guys, so another week and we're here again. I hope you all are safe and healthy. This week, as I promised you probably 2 months ago at this point, we are going to talk about essay writing. You do have an assignment due on Friday. It's open for you, so just make sure you get it uploaded by then. I will be grading assignments from last week in the coming days. So if you're watching this on Monday, you might already have it back. If not, it'll be back before you get the next one. In any event, please be sure to email me with any questions or concerns. As you've noticed, I have been responding to different ones of you each week in the discussion forums I'm posting, so that you know I am reading them. And so far, so good. I'm glad that you guys are understanding the information and applying it really well, seemingly. And good work responding to your peers as well. So keep doing that, and I will keep responding to 3, 4, 5 of you, maybe more each week in each discussion. So everybody sooner or later will get some feedback back from me, okay? So today I want to talk a little bit about essay writing. I will share my screen with you, and you can take notes if you want to, but the video will be posted regardless. And I posted also several other videos for you in Moodle to go along with this lesson, okay? All right, let me share my screen. All right, I hope you all can see this now. This is what we're talking about, is essay writing, okay? I will try and make it a little bit bigger. Maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, so essay writing. This is new to probably many of you based on what I've been reading in your essays. You might be used to writing essays slightly differently from previous experience, previous classes at home. But here in America, this is how we write academic essays. And these are all pretty standard ways to do it. I just want to introduce you to this topic a little bit, and I want you to give it some thought as you write your essay for this week and then moving forward, seeing as how we're almost done with the semester, okay? So on this slide, you can see essay writing is defined by Oxford as a literary composition on any subject. Okay, you all know what an essay is. It's your personal ideas, opinions on some topic, but it can cover anything as long as it's written composition, personal opinions, information, details of your life being a narrative or a description, okay? What are the characteristics? A good essay has to contain the following: unity, meaning everything makes sense, and that goes with order, right? Unity and order are basically friends. It's like salt and pepper, they go together, okay? Things have to be written in a particular order, and then by doing that, you are creating unity. For example, you'll learn about a thesis statement this week as well, and whatever you list your opinions as, your reasons for believing something in your thesis statement, you then discuss them in that same order in your essay, and that creates the unity, okay? Brevity, which many of you probably need to work on a little bit more, is you're not using too many words. You're using just enough words so that the reader can understand what you're saying. Your style and your personal touch. The style is going to be the type of essay, and there are several types we'll talk about in a minute. Your personal touch is your voice. That's unique to you, okay? So as you see there, you have to have a unified essay. It has to be written concisely. It's not too long, and you should be simple, direct, and clear. And you should have your own personality coming through in it. This is how we classify essays. Narrative, which would be like if I asked you to tell me about an important event in your life. Descriptive would be if I told you to describe the room you're sitting in right now. Expository is your standard essay. It's just about any topic. You also have reflective and imaginative. Imaginative is not something that you generally see. In place of that, you see something called argumentative. you'll get to that after this class. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but it's like a debate where two people disagree on something, you're choosing a side, okay? Reflective can be a bit persuasive too. So you're trying to convince somebody of something, but in the meantime, this is what the definitions are. So in a narrative, you're telling the writer, you the writer are telling a story about a real life experience. Okay, this sounds easy to do, but it's really hard to do for a lot of people that aren't used to talking about themselves or bragging about themselves. You need to make the story as vivid as possible. So in this case, you're using a lot of senses: sight, sound, touch, a lot of action verbs like jumped, sprinted, not ran. You want to say sprinted, okay? Or something that's going to create a picture in your head and is not basic, okay? Descriptive is just like I told you. You could describe a person, place, thing, a specific memory, whatever. You're trying to convey a deeper meaning, okay? A lot of sensory words go into this particular essay as well. Expository, when you're just explaining something. This is your standard essay, like I said, where you're doing your research, you're using facts, statistics, examples. A wide range of variations are included here. You have compare and contrast, cause and effect, how to. These are most of the essays you will write in college and moving forward. Compare and contrast, like compare a car to a truck. What is the same? What is different? Cause and effect. What are the causes of pollution? What are the consequences or effects of pollution on the world? And how do you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? How do you make dinner? How do you tie your shoes? It's you giving someone directions. A reflective essay, however, is your reflections on something, your habits, qualities, political, domestic topics. Most of the time you're using this as a persuasive essay to convince somebody of something, but not all the time. It could just be like a letter to an editor. Imaginative are fiction, right? You're putting yourself in a situation that you did not actually experience. Like if I were a king, or the autobiography of a horse, right? You don't know what it's like to be a horse. You don't know what it's like to be a king. But the story you're about to tell would be coming from you, and you'd be coming up with a description of what it might be like to be a king or a horse or whatever the case may be. This is not something you will spend a lot of time on in college, if at all, unless you take a creative writing course, and I imagine most of you will not. Again, most of the essays you will write will be expository. This is a chart which might be helpful for many of you. This is the overview of what an essay should look like. Many of you do not do this yet, so I would highly recommend you come back to this point in the video, write this down, okay? Your introduction, as you will see in the other videos I've posted for you for this week, I include general statements and information about a topic, including your thesis statement. That is going to list the main ideas of your essay. And then, however you list them, for example, that first main idea you list in your thesis, because generally there are 2 to 3, right? The first idea would go to body paragraph 1, the second body paragraph 2, the third body paragraph 3. In other words, we need a main idea to match each of our body paragraphs, okay? Our body paragraphs support those main ideas. They explain why they're important. They use the facts, the figures, the statistics, okay? They begin with topic sentences, which are like small main ideas for that particular main idea. Like it's a main idea inside of a main idea. And then you have your conclusion, okay? Your brief summary of the main points of the essay, okay? Your conclusion, by the way, does not introduce anything new. Keep that in mind. If you have not mentioned it in your introduction or your body paragraphs, you cannot mention it in your conclusion. It's called the rule of 3 that we use with essays. So your thesis statement has a rule of 3 main ideas. Well, that rule of three, those three things also appear in your body paragraph, and then you restate them again in your conclusion. You cannot suddenly be like, oh, I forgot to write about this. If you get to that point where you're thinking that in your conclusion, now you got to go back up to the body and the intro and fix that. They all have to match. That is another thing that creates unity in an essay, okay? How do we write an effective essay? Well, again, every essay has a beginning, middle, and end. Your body paragraphs are the middle. In your standard 5-paragraph essay, the first one's called the introduction. The next 3 are the body, and then the 5th one is the conclusion. That is your standard 5-paragraph essay. Now, a little bit more information on the parts of an essay. Your introduction is your why should we care? Your so what? The main idea of your essay. It's drawing your reader in. It's telling us why we should care. Why is this important? Some people choose to write their main idea thesis statement first and revolve or the rest of their essay around that. Other people choose to write their thesis statement later on. But like I said, to create that unity, you have to follow that rule of 3. So you have to make sure all of those main ideas are in each part of the essay. So I would recommend coming up with some sort of a working thesis first. You can revise it later if your essay changes form. Okay. Your main idea of your essay is stated in a single sentence. That is your thesis. You are giving background about your topic. You use interesting facts that you'll use later in the essay as well. Again, so this is like our roadmap. This is telling our reader, this is drawing them in, this is telling them what to expect and when to expect it. Okay. Now the introduction has 3 parts. You have the hook. It's more dramatic. It doesn't have to be, but it generally is. You have several sentences that make up this hook and pull your reader into the essay. It makes them want to read on. Then you have a transitional sentence, which connects that hook to the thesis. It's like a bridge. Without it, you have 2 sides of land, and you can't get from side A to side B because there's no bridge showing us how to get there, okay? And then finally, your thesis statement is the last 1 or 2 sentences in the introduction that states the idea of the essay. Okay. All right. So hooks, dramatic openers. What are they? Oops. The hooks are used to grab your reader's attention, like I said, at the get-go, right at the start. It's really a short sentence. It's placed before the topic sentence. Okay. Transitional sentences, you need them. They are connections to a new idea. They give the organization, the logic, the unity that you need. Okay. And you'll hear more about this in the videos that I've posted as well. Your thesis statement is very basic. It's 1 or 2 sentences, and it tells the reader your main idea. Consider it the roadmap, right? It should do the following things. It needs to express. It needs to tell us what you're going to tell us. It needs to make a discussable, debatable point, like something that we all don't agree on. Somebody has to disagree with you. Otherwise, it's not a thesis statement. It's a fact. Okay? Like you can't make a statement that says snow is white. Why? Because snow is, in fact, white. Nobody's going to disagree with you. But as you see in the discussion for this week on April 8th, that could be a potential thesis statement, right? Smoking should be banned. Smoking should not be banned, right? Because people are going to disagree. And that's what I want you to do, is take a position on one side or the other. And then it also indicates our structure. So if you only have 2 main ideas, then you only have 2 body paragraphs, right? And then finally, your middle part is your body paragraphs, your supporting ideas. They develop. They are example statistics, things like that to develop your essay. So connect your supporting paragraphs. You need to use those transition words. They link them together. They also make your essays easier to read. Okay, use them at the beginning and ends of your paragraphs. So each body paragraph contains these following three things: a topic sentence telling us what the paragraph is going to be about, then your details, right? A little bit more about each topic, and then an example of what you mean. And then you can explain by wrap. You can explain why this is important or not important, and then wrap it up, right? So tell us what you already told us and get us ready for the next topic, the next paragraph. And then finally, you have your conclusion, which you all know what a conclusion is, but this is just restating your thesis statement, your introduction. It's not your personal opinion. It's nothing like that. It restates it using different words. Remember, we talked about restating, summarizing, things like that. Same thing applies here. It's not the exact same words, but it does have two parts. Your summary, where you are restating that thesis in a new way to reinforce that main idea, and then you provide a clincher, which is your final thought, which creates a lasting impression. It's a closer, the last opportunity to connect with the reader. So if you were writing an essay about climate change, your last sentence might be, if we don't do something now, then our grandchildren will not have an earth, or something like that, right? That's a call to action. That is a connection. That's a clincher, okay? And remember, you are not asking any questions in your conclusion. It is your job to answer all of the questions that the reader could potentially have. If you still have questions you feel you need to ask at the end, you haven't done your job. You need to go back and answer anything and everything that you think is still left unsaid, undiscussed, okay? And also, don't tell your reader what to think. If you've done your job properly, they will come to their own conclusion. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I need you to know revisions are something that everybody should be doing. I've said this time and time again. It's not recopying. It means making changes, okay, so that your paper makes more sense. These three things can help you make those changes. Clarity, meaning, is your essay clearly, logically written? Can we follow it? Does it follow those three main points in your thesis? Do all of the paragraphs relate back to that central thesis? And do the ideas flow smoothly? In other words, are you using transitions as bridges to make those ideas flow, to make those connections? Proofreading, I've told many of you that in class and on your papers. Proofreading is different from revision though, okay? Revision is focused on improving the content of your essay, but proofreading is fixing errors, recognizing them, fixing errors in punctuation, capitalization, spelling, and grammar. If you have the opportunity right now to get a hold of Frank, if he's still available, then I highly encourage you to do that. This is your checklist if you can't get a hold of him, and you should go through it every time you write a paper, okay? I'm not going to go through all of these, but you want to look for fragments, run-ons, indentations. Is there agreements between subjects and verbs, pronoun references, tenses, commas, semicolons, all of those things, okay? Interesting and accurate word choice, spelling. If I have said to you in the past, in your papers, you need to proofread more. If you're not getting the full credit on grammar and vocab, this is why. Check out those rubrics that we use to grade your papers. This is why. So use this checklist. This is my reference page. Okay, so that is it for our lecture for this week. I hope that was valuable for you. You can talk about some of these differences as well in your reflection that's due on Friday. Feel free to do that. If you have questions or anything, let me know. If you guys would prefer if I create a chat box and I'm sitting in the chat room for a few minutes during each class session, if it helps you, then let me know that too. I'm hoping this way is better for you because then you can watch these videos on your own time and email me with any questions. If we do things live, some of you do not have fast internet connections, and that can be frustrating to say the least. Okay. But again, thanks for bearing with all of us. If you have to talk about anything or you need advice or anything like that, please just contact me as soon as possible. Otherwise, I will be in touch, and good job on the discussions. Again, I will continue replying to a few of you each week, right? All right, and that's it for this week.